Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
Welcome back to another episode of the Paperweights. I am your host, Brandon.
And Justin.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. It's been fun. Last week we did Halloween, I Am Legend. And now we're getting back to Stormlight Archives. It was fun getting back into the Stormlight Archives after a week off of reading it. It seemed to go a little bit faster. I don't know if it was just because of a break, but the reading went by pretty quick.
Yeah, it better since this book is huge.
His book is gigantic. Like, I think the page count on the ebook is like 1,360 or something like that.
Hardback, it's like a 12 something.
Yeah, it's absolutely enormous. So,
Yeah,
but
and it does feel like a new it's kind of slow, but it's like kind of like a new. It's like, oh yeah, we did everything. Now it's a new book or a new series almost. It's weird.
yeah, just because everything is like set, like reset basically. It's like, okay, now we've got these guys. Now here's Urithiru, but we'll get into that.
Yep.
Um,
There was no vampires this week though, which made me a little sad.
yeah, no vampires.
No, Robert Neville didn't show up as a Radiant.
Yeah, very true, very true. So before we get started, our podcast is sponsored by Mudcat Whiskers, and you can visit them at their website, www.mudcatwhiskers.com. Use code Paperweights at checkout to save yourself 15% on your beard care products. They also sell soy candles with wood wicks, and they come in typically any scent that the beard products are in, you can get the candle in if they're in stock. So you can head on over. I don't know exactly what all he has in stock. I know he still has some the Halloween scents of beard care products out there. So you can cop those limited editions while he still has them. So visit them at www.mudcatwhiskers.com. So I am wearing my LSU Tiger shirt because they're doing well.
I am not because I forgot.
Yeah. I don't think it'd be great to wear a paper bag on the podcast, but I still root for our Saints, even though they're in a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, I actually am rooting for them to lose because we really need a reset. Like, we've been putting off the reset for like 5 years. Like, our cap is so bad, and like we just need draft picks, and we're going nowhere. So I'm kind of like I hope our rookie QB Rattler looks good, but other than that, I want us to lose.
Yeah,
And he has a
he does look good. And it concerns me if it's like, all right, here's his rookie year. This is his time to really look good. But, the rumors are that the team is intentionally just like not playing well for that reason. Either one, to get draft picks, or two, because they don't like the coach. But, those are still rumors, but it kind
yeah.
of sucks for some of the new players when they're like, okay, well, I'm playing now, and now I have to go look like doo-doo.
Yeah, I mean the way like they tank in the NBA, right, is you just put out people and they'll try to win, right? They'll be trying as hard as they can. They're just not good enough to win. So you put them out, but you don't want you're going up against like LeBron James, so you're just gonna lose. But like they're still trying to win, but they're just not gonna. So that's what we could do. We could like, get rid of Kamara and like all of our old people that are expensive and get in some young guys that are gonna play hard but are still gonna lose.
Yeah, those. It's still sad, like the level of diff the differentiation between skill levels within the NFL too. It's like, okay, I made it to the NFL, but hey, look, these dudes are like 10 times better than you still.
Yeah, there was a funny quote from this guy. He was an ex-Celtic. I forgot his name, but he was like a kind of a middling player in the NBA. But he has a quote. He's like, "I am closer to LeBron James than a regular person is to me." I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true. That's insane. Because I mean, even though they're like the worst professional, they're still like ridiculously good in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, they completely destroy any normal
Yeah,
person in that field. So, yeah, it's interesting.
yeah. Bring us the book. Did you read this on Kindle?
I Nook, but yeah,
No. Does it have the illustrations and the like these?
it doesn't have those.
Okay. So the hardback has four illustrations. I'm guessing these are heralds.
Yeah, I think some of them are heralds. I'll grab my book real quick. Yeah, I think
So I don't
although
think they're any of our
I mean
characters.
this one might be honor,
Yeah, I could see that.
but and this chick this is obviously the herald for the light weavers.
Yeah, she reminds me of in Wheel of Time. Was it Grendel that had that shifting
Oh yeah.
dress? Yeah. I was like, oh, Grendel's in here.
Yeah. I think this is
Talinar, maybe?
Talenat.
Talinet, yeah.
Yeah. And then who is she?
Oh man.
She's got keys. And what is that in her hand?
Yeah, like a not a protractor, the you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the other
Uh,
that math thing.
yeah, the math thing where you can like draw circles and shit.
Yeah, whatever that's called.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be fun to look them up, but I don't want
It gets spoiled.
to. Yeah.
It's
Oh, they
interesting that
actually
there's oh,
the back of the book jacket's got a huge map of Roche.
that's cool. I lost my book jacket.
Yeah, that's I didn't remember this. This is
Ooh,
that's
that's useful.
yeah, I mean it's that actually is pretty useful because in the book, good as they are, it's hard to
Yeah.
like at least on the ebooks you can like zoom in a little bit. Um, but yeah, and of course there's all the symbols of all the orders
Hmm.
out here. So
Does she have? No. Yeah. It's interesting that there's two lady heralds. We haven't met any lady heralds yet. So
yeah,
if that's what they are, I could see that first one being honor. That's a cool one.
just speculation. Of course, anybody that has actually read everything and extensively studied it all are gonna be like, these dudes are stupid.
Yeah.
But you know,
That is true. So.
some of it's meant to just represent something that happens in this book. So,
Yeah, and the cover is Yasna, right?
um,
Pretty sure.
yeah, that's not Shalon.
No.
So, yeah, that's Yasna. Um, it's a pretty cool shard blade she's got there.
Yeah. Have we gotten a cover for the fifth book?
Yes,
Yeah.
the cover has been revealed for the fifth book. Um, it's Do you want to know what's on the cover?
I mean, I could just look it up.
It's Dalinar, and he's standing on the top of what I think is a Earth hero.
Mm.
So
True.
yeah,
Yeah. Just yeah, look it up real quick. Now that we're talking about covers.
but
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess that's Eleanor.
it looks like him.
Yeah. It does have his yeah. Cool. He's got a book, so he's probably reading The Way of Kings.
Or
Just some light reading.
yeah, so um we'll get to the end of this chapter. There's Dalinar does or sorry, the end of this section, Dalinar does a lot of wrestling, and just reminded me of jujitsu. And I've been doing like a crap ton of jujitsu lately. Like I did 7 classes in 6 days, although it's technically five because 2 days I did 2 classes and then I had a day off, and then yeah, so and then yesterday it was 2 hours in a row,
Mhm.
and I did 10 5-minute rolls after class. So class was basically just technique, and then rolling afterwards. So I was like, man,
Mhm.
it's tiring because a lot of the people that I roll against are in their early 20s.
Mhm.
So I'm almost old enough to be their dad. And there's a huge energy difference between a 21-year-old and a 40-year-old man.
Yeah, I can see that. You get any triangle chokes?
No try. Well, I did get some triangle chokes, but arm triangle. No, not leg
Mm.
triangles. I leg triangles are not my forte. I have trouble getting them set up, and it's just because my thighs are huge, and so to get that angle,
Humble brag.
uh, to get that angle, it's a work to get that set up. If I can get it set up, then it's tight really quick. But I just don't have my body is not set up for easily
Mm.
setting up triangles. Not that
Mm.
I can't do it, but
Eh, fair enough.
and it's not the low-hanging fruit for me to improve upon in
That's
my
just
in my skill set.
one of the moves I remember from watching MMA back in the day.
Oh yeah.
That and arm bars.
I'll get arm bars uh, quite often. Americanas, Kimuras, um, arm triangles,
So are you
small.
doing? You probably told me this, and I forgot. You're doing regular jiu-jitsu or are you doing Brazilian?
It's labeled as BJJ. But of course, my coach is like, nah, fam, this is American Jiu-Jitsu now.
Mm.
Um, I love him to death. Uh, but he researches a lot of stuff. He's like, Jiu-Jitsu was in America before Helio Gracie was even born. So he's like, why does this have to be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Like it was around.
So we got popularized and
Yeah.
codified there. Yeah,
So
that's fun. Anyway,
yeah,
we'll get to Dalinar doing some BJJ, some I guess RJJ, some Roshar Jiu-Jitsu,
Rosharan
or,
Jiu-Jitsu.
or AJJ,
Yeah,
Alethi Jiu-Jitsu.
Alethi Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, AJJ, American Jiu-Jitsu, Alethi Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to start?
Yeah, let's go. Let's start with that prologue. We got Esh.
Prologue. Got some Eshonai to weep. Just like every prologue. And I'm curious if after book five the prologues will be something different since there would be a time skip. But
I feel like they would.
yeah,
I don't know. Something about first 5 books being an arc and then like a 10-year time jump or whatever makes me feel like, okay, we're moving on from the fact that whatever happened in this first arc was due to Gavilar.
Galar, yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it would be kind of funny. It's like this is a 20-year time skip. And also, what about Gavilar? And also, I don't really know how much more we can glean from Gavilar's death. We're getting two more of these. And so it'd be fun. But this is Eshonai. We get some young Eshonai where she's all naive and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, looking around like studying all the Alethi structures and stuff. What's funny? I kind of forgot that the thing was like this was in Kolinar.
Yeah.
The treaty was in Kolinar. For some reason, I was like, oh yeah, that's Kolinar. Yeah. Um, she's kind of walking around. They do some more kind of listener stuff. They're like, oh, they like getting the concept of slaves. They bought a slave, which was Zeth, because Odium told them to, basically, which is strange. Really reminds me of Mistborn, where gods kind of whisper you to do stuff and kind of set up their return and stuff, which is kind of interesting. Maybe a callback to Mistborn. Anyway, she's kind of exploring, and she meets good old Gavilar
And Amaram.
and Amaram, but she talks to Gavilar alone. And he's basically like, hey, guess what? We're gonna bring back your gods. I know you're afraid of your gods, but like y'all used to be really powerful, and we used to be really powerful, so we want to go back to us killing each other again, being both really powerful. And she's like, no. And she
It
runs
sounds like a
away.
terrible
Yeah,
idea.
terrible idea. And then she's like, hey, elders, or the five or whatever, we need to kill Gavilar. Oh, look, we happen to have a assassin that's a voice from our gods. Oh, wait, that's probably bad. Oh, well, forget that. We should kill him. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, so one of the things you did skip over, which is he gave her the black gemstone that had the violet light inside of it. So there's definitely more secrets here. Um, and this is not the only, apparently he didn't only have one black gemstone, like because he gave this to her, but then later on, you remember Seth took one.
Yeah.
Or yeah, earlier on in Way of Kings, Seth had taken one after he killed Gavilar.
Yeah, it's like a small one. So I don't know if I can't remember if the Seth one was bigger. But these have to be like Odium Spren, right?
I think it's something different. And so in here, I think in the Kaladin chapter, one of the Kaladin chapters where he mentioned the Everstorm passed, and he's like the gemstones didn't refill with Stormlight or an alternative form of power like he thought might happen. So I think these are something similar to Stormlight, but not. I don't think it's a Spren inside of there.
Mm. Yeah, could be. It's the true power. We're just going all wheel time. We got Grindel and we have the true power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I think it's a sprint is because they make a big deal of capturing sprints in like gemstones and stuff. And we know there's like evil sprint that like do like the thrill and stuff. So maybe he's been like going around the world capturing these sprint to like unleash the gods. Maybe
Yeah,
I don't
doesn't
know.
he also point that out to what's her name that to Eshonai? Doesn't Gavilar point out to Eshonai that they've figured out how to capture Spren? I think it's when he's showing off like the basically the fireplace Spren, the heating fabrials.
Yeah,
And I think that's where he's like, "Hey, we kind of picked this up from you guys." Or maybe he didn't say that, but I think she internalized like, "Oh, they know how to do this now," um,
yeah.
which harkens back to I think book two.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the alternative perspectives. Um, and speaking of alternative perspectives, it just popped into my head. Um, the Leather-bound words radiance Kickstart, not Kickstarter, but whatever the other one is. It's the crowdfunded one. Backer kit, I think.
Mm.
So anyway, the books are starting to be sent out, and I got my email that had the PDFs and the audiobooks of, I think it was Dragon Steel Prime. And so it's labeled as a Sanderson Curiosity. And so it was
Oh.
like the first, basically one of the early first drafts of Dragon Steel. And so it's not necessarily canon, although some things in it have become canon to Cosmere. So it's interesting because there's like a Shattered Plains in that book, but he's like, yeah, whenever I took that Shattered Plains and I put it over here, and I took this Bridge Man and I put him in Stormlight, but there's other things in Dragonsteel that are different. And eventually in the future, he's going to rewrite that to fit into the existing Cosmere. But
Mm. Okay.
alternative perspectives is what led me to that, because it's not canon to Stormlight, but it was an early draft where he was exploring ideas, and he didn't scrap it all. He still has a coherent book with it, so
Yeah.
be
It's
interesting to read it. But
yeah. I'm kind of curious because we have two more of these. I'm assuming. Uh, like
yes,
what more we can really learn? Like we kind of know everything now. Like we know why Gavilar did it. We know why the Pershini did it. We know the fight. We know that Yasna was talking to an assassin, I guess. Like sits in the shades mark. Like I don't know. I'm kind of curious what other perspectives we can really get that are meaningful.
well, as Kelsier said in the Final Empire, there's always another secret.
Sure. We get wit.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Wit's perspective would be cool.
Yeah. You got anything else on this?
No, we can move on to chapter.
I do find it really funny that Gavilar he could have just did this in secret and just was alive, but he was like, "Hey, y'all are really afraid of your gods.
I want to bring him back.
I'm just gonna tell you about my plan, and then y'all are gonna do nothing about it." I mean, I guess it makes sense he was surprised that they killed him right away, considering didn't know they had a assassin with them as a random servant that their gods told him to get. Um, but it is kind of funny that he was like so blindsided by them trying to kill him for bringing back their dark gods.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on to chapter one, Broken and Divided. This is a Dalinar chapter. We get a really cool Urithiru map at the beginning of the chapter. It's just like it's basically in the center of everything. Um, so this is 6 days after arriving in Urithiru. Dalinar is kind of revisiting the visions. He can kind of enter the visions and control them um because he's bound the Stormfather. Um,
He basically has a DVR of all the
basically, yeah.
things.
And he can
DVR
kind
Dalinar.
yeah.
Hey.
He can also like shift perspective, like he moves down like or on a cliff or whatever, or down the Kolinar and
Even though
stuff.
Stormfather's like, you're not supposed to be able to do that. He's like, do it
Yeah,
anyway.
he sees a bunch of people T-posing. He basically has no clip.
I was about to say that too. He turned no clip on and goes,
Yeah. Um. So yeah, he's like looking at more of the like thunderclasts and stuff because there's like huge claw marks and Kolinar and stuff. Um. So he's like, the other storm probably won't wipe out Kolinar. So it'll probably be some crazy monsters that we've seen that still haven't seen. Um. He's he's getting frustrated about how bad his um political machinations are going. Basically, all the other empires are kind of like, yeah, we'll like wait and see, and it's good. Oh, it's good you found your way through. We're dealing with stuff here, except for what's his face,
Oh,
Taravangian,
oh,
and Gox.
Caravangian.
Yeah, Taravangian is like kind of cool. And then we have Gox, who's like they're doing starting some communications, but nothing's really going with it. Let's see what else.
At this point, anyway, I have some
Yeah,
theories later on, but
yeah. Um. Oh yeah, he sees the champion, this dark figure with 9 shadows. Um. So we'll see who that is.
and each
Uh.
shadow is in a different direction,
Yeah.
and the eyes are glowed a brilliant red.
So some sort of Parshney. Don't think it's Eshonai, but it might be. Um. Identifies the shadows as the unmade. So we got like 9 bad, good like odium spren that are probably named and do crazy shit. Kind of like the thrill guy and the other people that Teravangian was talking about. I forgot their names. Um,
So I have. Go ahead. There's not much left in the chapter to review.
yeah. Basically at the end they're like, "Hey, Sadius got killed." That's kind of it.
Um, yeah, and then opening all the oath gates.
Yeah, he wants to open the F gates, but it's kind
So I have this crazy theory here.
of,
So right now we know whenever the heralds put up their thing, 9 went away, right? And 1 was left. Talanat was they basically betrayed Talanat and made him stay here
yeah.
while they fucked off and did something. So we essentially have 9. We've seen multiple times, well, at least in the prologue in that hallway in Kolinar, one of the statues was missing.
Mhm.
So he had 9 heralds. So I'm really wondering, like, if the unmade, these 9 unmade, if they mirror the heralds, and then the 10th person, which could be Talanat, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Um, that could like Talanat could be the red herring in this theory, but there's one herald slash unmade that bridges like the gap between the two groups. It and in the reason why I'm kind of bringing this up is it's already been established that patterns and symmetry are things that are
Fully.
Koshar, right?
Hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see how I don't know how exactly that does play out. Um, but
I was thinking I can't remember how many uh forms there were in that poem epigraphs last book. I don't know if there was 9 of them, but it could be like that's their orders of Knights Radiant, like the decay form and all that stuff. So they could have like it mirrors the orders that way.
yeah, and that would make sense with the unmade being like the unmade being those like the Parshindi heralds.
Hmm. Yeah.
I like that. And I also don't remember how many forms. It seemed like a shit
It
ton.
seemed like a shit ton, but maybe like all this because yeah, I think they had like mate and nimble form and all that stuff, but maybe all their special like smokes form and all that. Maybe there's 9 of those type things.
Yeah.
Um.
Makes
Anyway,
sense. I mean, the forms of the gods, because we know that so that like war form, doll form, slave form, work form, art form. Well, maybe art form is one of the god forms because they hadn't really discovered it yet, right? Nobody was
yeah,
really in art form yet.
yeah, they couldn't
Um,
do it
so maybe the ones that they were all in already that weren't god forms are just like, I mean, they
natural.
are essentially professions. Like humans have professions.
Yeah,
And then these god forms are those orders. I like that.
like forms of power, basically. Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
Easily. Yeah. We'll see if
Or
that's correct.
yeah, and so or it's just those bindings like growth and regrowth, gravitation, friction. like control over those things. Maybe it's that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got a champion to look forward to fighting. See who that is. I'm curious if it's gonna be Eshonai. I kind of feel like it's not gonna be, but we'll see.
But is it
Uh,
like is it that nine-tailed cat or whatever? Naruto?
Nine-tailed demon fox, yeah.
Yeah. That's what they gotta fight.
It's the Kitsune. Yeah, whatever. Forgot the name of it.
The nine-tailed demon fox. That works.
Yeah. Got a Japanese name, but I forgot it because I haven't watched Naruto in forever.
I think I've only watched like the first 8 episodes or something like that. So
You've been watching DBZ. Um,
I've watched a whole lot of DBZ. Lately, I've been watching Dragon Ball,
hmm.
which is fun.
You like Naruto. Chills are probably like Naruto too. It's fun. Now that it's done, you can kind of skip all the bad filler that's in it. But like the first, it's really popular for a reason. It's good.
Maybe
It
maybe I'll
it
sit maybe I'll sit and watch Rituals.
it kind of falls off, but it's good.
Yeah,
Like most of them do. They have some bad arcs and stuff.
yeah.
I never finished it because it's a billion episodes.
I can't be as many as One Piece, huh?
It's like 500 or something. A lot. Like
That's a lot, but not.
it
Isn't
was
One Piece like 1,300?
yeah, I mean, yeah. One Piece has been going weekly since like 92.
Jesus.
Yeah. Naruto was like weekly through I think most started like maybe in my like middle school and then like throughout college. So yeah, it was like 10 years.
That's yeah.
Yeah, because then it has Shippuden and then it has Boruto, but you don't need to worry about that. There's a anyway, we're not. This is not the
Chapter
Naruto podcast. I
chapter
mean, I
two,
guess it could be. Um, yeah,
chapter
one
two, one
problem
problem solved.
solved. Yep. We get some Adolin and we get some Dalinar POVs.
And we get a lot of people in this chapter too.
Yeah, it's a billion people. I have a theory on one of them, but we can get to her later. Or I guess we can get to her now. But Aelin is he's kind of supervising everybody in Irithiru, trying to like figure out stuff, like how to like it's basically city building type stuff and like where to put people. They're like not the markets aren't going where Navani wants. It's really funny. Um, he's you know happy to have a distraction because he murdered somebody like I guess a day ago. I can't really get um the timeline of when he because like it's 6 days since they got there and then they were discovering a while, so I'm guessing it's probably like a day since he killed Thaddeus.
Yeah, I would say like
Yeah.
he hasn't started really decaying and smelling bad yet. So
Yeah. And then there's been a discovery and he's like, oh, I know where that is. Dalinar, it switches to Dalinar's POV. He runs down, stops a clash between Sadeas's people and Bridge 4. Bridge 4 found him. So that's not the greatest look for Bridge 4. So they hate Sadeas with good reason. Um, he Downer, looks over the body. He's like, yeah, he got in a fight and got stabbed through the eye. Um, um, yeah. Downer is kind of sad that Sadeas is dead, which is interesting. Because you needed him. Basically, is like, the apocalypse is here. Sadeas is a good general and fighter and politician. So we need everybody now, even though it's a good thing he's dead, honestly.
everybody else in the room is like,
Yeah,
oh, I mean, at least he's gone, right? I mean,
yeah. Sabariel and Palona are there.
it's like this is very convenient. And he's like, what? And everybody's like, yeah, it is. And then they just like walk out.
Yeah,
They're like, okay, well, let's discover that, or let's discuss some other things.
yeah. So this is I just want to bring her up because she's mentioned a lot in passing. So I have a feeling she's going to be important in this book. And they're setting her up as May
May?
Aladar. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the
I,
only person I could think of when you're like, I have a theory about this chick. I was like, okay, May.
I don't remember her at all because I barely remember this book.
I
But
don't remember much about this book either.
they brought her up. They name dropped her a lot and like said like, oh, Aladar's daughter is doing this or whatever. Like a bunch in this section. Okay. So like she has to be important. Maybe she's a radiant or she's something. But I was just like I was taking note of that.
What if she's gonna end up being the one that Kaladin ships with?
Maybe. I don't think she's spoken a line of text yet, but like they just brought her up so many times and she's never appeared in any of the other books. So I'm like, all right, she's gonna be an important character in like part 3 or something. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
could see that.
I'm glad you noticed it too. I was like, who is this person? Oh, it's Aladar's daughter. And then like next time, Aladar's daughter. Oh, I was talking with Aladar's daughter about this. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay.
Like, okay, Aladar has a daughter and she has a name.
Yeah,
And
and
it's funny, later in one of the later chapters, it was May Aladar something something something. I was like, May, not as in May the name, but
mm,
May Aladar do this or May Aladar
yeah,
be this. I was like, huh, because a lot of times they just refer to Aladar as Aladar.
Aladar. Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Ah,
think I know his first name.
yeah, I can't recall it off the top of my head either. But yeah,
Yeah.
so Dalinar decides to appoint people into positions.
Yes.
You've got Aladar is the High Prince of Information. He replaces Sadeas,
Hmm.
essentially. Sabariel, of course, becomes the High Prince of Commerce.
Hmm.
And then he sets Adolin in charge of training the troops and organizing defense as a sub commander of himself.
Yep. And yeah, and he's like, Renarin and Shallan, we need your powers to you need to figure out your powers better because stuff's going bad.
And I know we don't have a whole lot of Stormlight, but you have free reign to waste it to discover your powers.
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
and yeah, this is the first time we really see, well, I say first, it's the second time, but it's the first time where it's actually stated that the Wind Runners are squired.
Yes.
And so,
They have
and
like a proximity radius to get their powers.
right. So if Kaladin is around Bridge 4, if they're really close with Kaladin, they get powers the same as him. And later on, we see whenever Kaladin does go away, they have lost their powers. Which,
So it must be pretty so but Lupin must be an actual Windrunner though. Because Kaladin was already flying away when he sucked in the thing.
yeah, we don't
So
know. I mean, we don't know how far it is
I
either.
mean, he was on the shattered planes, right? Or at least flying way away. So it must
Yeah.
have a if he doesn't have a sprint or like if he's not a burgeoning windrunner, then it must be a large radius.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's a day after, then we know from the chapter coming up, we know he traveled 1,000 miles in one day. And then
Mm.
it took 3 days to travel another 180 on foot or something like that. But uh, yeah, I don't think 1,000 mile distance would still bestow those powers. So um,
Yeah, because he dropped off the king and then went away, and then it seemed like he got to the shattered plains pretty quick and saved everybody. And it seemed like Lupin, it was like maybe a day later or something. Lupin was just chilling with the king, or maybe like at least hours later. And then he sucked in the thing and started growing his little tiny arm back. Um, so I'm curious if Lupin's actually a windrunner or if he's a squire.
yeah,
And if he's a squire, then it means the radius is large, which makes
yeah,
sense. It kind of have to be with the windrunners.
I think so. And it's interesting. So I have a feeling, I mean, really, it makes sense that the Skybreakers are also have squires as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you think those two people that the crab man killed were squares?
I think so, but also, I mean, Nail is the freaking herald, so
Yeah. Right.
um, he could probably bestow powers by proximity regardless. Like he'd be like, "Hey, you could do this now." So I don't know how heralds really work, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's a fun chapter. It really was funny to me how they're like, "Oh, Sadius is dead. This is sad." And then Pollona's like, "Well, that's one problem solved." And then they're all like, "All right, well, we can move on from this room and go in the other room, and I'll start appointing positions."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Dalinar, without saying it, basically said, "You know what? You're right."
Yeah. Sadius is a weird character. It's like he's really politically important, but like in narrative wise, he's like not important at all. He's just kind of like a mid boss type thing
Yeah.
in like a video game. I wonder if they say like the Windrunners usually have squires. I wonder if it's just because of their like oaths, or if any order can like have squires. They just usually don't.
I I think it has to deal with the orders themselves. I don't think all orders can have squires, but um and I say that just because the oaths are different too. Like
Yeah,
the requirements, like Shallan has to give like crazy truths, admit to crazy stuff in order to get her next ideals.
yeah. Like I could see that. I'm just curious if it's like they're they could, but their oaths usually make it so that it doesn't happen. But like it could be a thing. Like it's not a ability only for the Windrunners. It's just that they're more likely to do it because of the oaths they have. Like if it's like a chicken and egg type thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, so windrunners protect those who can't protect themselves. Kind of makes sense of okay, I can give them what they need to protect themselves.
Hmm.
Um, that kind of makes sense of a rule-based reason for the squires to have powers. Skybreakers, I don't know their ideal, but it seems to be about justice,
Yeah.
delivering justice. And okay, if you need to deliver justice, you need people that will back you up, and those, lackeys or judges and executors and things. So you need to be able to have that and be able to dole out that authority. And
Yeah.
there's another narrative reasoning for them to have squires.
Yeah.
But light weavers, I don't.
I mean, you need spy networks. So, mm,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
I don't know, I don't see Shalon getting like um squires, but like there were orders, so there had to be like hundreds or thousands of people in each order for it to be an order. So I'm just curious where they're gonna like it. I wonder how many radiants we're gonna have in these books, because it seems like we should have like hundreds of them, which is gonna be fun. Or if we're gonna have a small thing, and then the time skip is gonna have like we're gonna have the orders restored, and they're gonna be like fully armed and operational type. I'm just curious because it seems like if we're gonna restore the Knights Radiant for reals, like we're gonna need Radiants to come out of our. We're gonna need which characters ever have Radiant powers pretty soon.
but I think a lot of those interludes, like the M interlude and uh lift and all that, I think that's set up just like random people in the world that have no connection to any big like political entity or anything, sets that up as okay, yeah, there are random people in the world that get these powers.
Yeah,
So, but they probably want to hide it. I mean, the stump too. It's like, okay, she didn't
yeah,
really know. She was just like this lady that ran an orphanage. It's like, um,
yeah. And I get that. That's why I'm saying like maybe not this book, but in one of these Like even if, probably if it's the time skip, we're gonna have a billion radiants. But before that, we're gonna need. So if there's armies of the 9 Parshendi, which we'll get to later because the Parshendi are interesting. They have not been taken over by the evil Spring yet. Um, but like if once that happens, and then like we're gonna need the Knights Radiant to be formed, and it's gonna be fun. Anyway, we can move on unless you got anything else.
Nope, that's it. I would.
Uh,
It's not related to this section, but I do think we just happened to pick a great spot to like break this week's reading off because we have like two big um cliffhangers. Like we have Kaladin's cliffhanger and Dalinar's cliffhanger. So
yeah, it was a serendipitous.
yeah.
All right, we got chapter 3, Momentum. This is the start of the Dalinar flashbacks that we're getting.
I like that it came early in this book because I think book two there might have been one flashback in section in part one, if that. But
Yeah. I guess we can also talk briefly about the epigraphs that we're getting. Somebody has written from the book Oathbringer. I'm guessing this is Yasna. That's what it feels like, but it kind of just doesn't tell us anything. Like these are kind of just like, oh, these are fun, but they don't really tell us anything.
I was reading them. I was like, okay, this keeps setting up like, oh, I had to write this, but this was here, but I needed to write this. And like, I'm like,
Yeah,
you're not giving me any information. You're just
yeah,
like, oh, this is the reason why you wrote this. Well, what the hell did you write?
yeah. I
So
I don't
which
I
is
don't I
why I was
don't
like,
ha- I
let's
don't
save
have
it till the
any.
second.
Yeah, I don't have any. I'm pretty sure this is Yasna writing something, but it kind of just says nothing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't go back and read them all together.
yeah,
We'll discuss it on the next one when we finish part one. So
yeah. True.
maybe we'll get
Um,
some more information.
maybe. Yeah. Hopefully. But yeah. They're just kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Those epigraphs, they're all kind of fun, but usually they don't mean anything when you're reading them. They might mean something later on, like a reread or something, but like when you're first reading, like, oh yeah, okay, cool, all right. There's a book again. There's Oathbringer.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, we can get back to the chapter 3. This is we get some Dalinar. This is 34 years ago, so Dalinar is what 56, I think.
Yeah, so he's 22.
22.
Yeah.
He does not have a plate or shard blade yet. Um, he's basically being like a berserker barbarian, just murdering everybody. Um, it's pretty cool. He is like completely into the thrill. Um, just murking everybody, being a crazy yeah, berserker. He's got elite. We meet the guy who becomes an ardent. I forgot his name. Is it Taka?
Taka, yeah.
Yeah.
Thakka.
Yeah, yeah. He's part of his elites. He's just kind of what we learn here is that he just kind of does what Gavilar tells him to do. Like he just wants to kill people, basically. And he's like, oh, Gavilar told me to go murder this entire town. That's what we're gonna go do. I don't really care about uh, political machinations or anything like that. We're good. Um, and then we also see Sadius, young Sadius. Um, and you get the sense that they were actually friends. Like this was not a lie that they were talking about old friend and stuff like that. Um, yeah, he just kind of murders all these people. Chapter.
The
He
one of the
takes.
big things you missed,
Oh, this is
the
this
archer.
yeah, the archer. Yeah,
He gets shot from an archer and then rides out to where the archer is, and it's a really good archer. And he goes up to him and is like, hey, you shot me? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, here, that over there, shoot that. And he shoots it. And then he's like, okay, you're in my army now. He's like, wait, I tried to kill you. It's like, yeah, but you're a good archer, so you're in my army now.
Yeah, this is, I'm pretty sure he took this from a really famous story of Genghis Khan, who basically he had his horse shot out from underneath him by an archer, and he was so impressed by this archer that he made him one of his like chief dudes, and ended up becoming like a general for him and stuff. Yeah, so
Did you learn that from hardcore history?
I did.
Those things are so long.
Yeah,
They're
they're
good.
good. Yeah, Jibbe, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, he almost killed Genghis Khan by an archer, and Genghis Khan. I couldn't remember if this was. Forgot that this was this chapter that happens, and then oh yeah, they like murder all the hostages and stuff.
Yeah.
It's very brutal.
Yeah, Dalinar back in the day, or Blackthorn, if you will. Um, it's essentially not Dalinar, it's Blackthorn, is absolutely brutal and probably evil.
No, very evil.
He's not like, if he was this way when we met him, like in current day, we'd be like, okay, this is not a good dude. Like, I'm not gonna root for this guy. But the way Brandon set it up is that see him after he's redeemed himself, kind of, or is on his redemption, and then we get his flashbacks, and we're like, okay, now I see why he's doing what he's doing. Um,
I wonder if he was. We're gonna find out he was possessed by the that evil thrill spren, and that's why he's like so badass and so bloodthirsty.
Well, I mean, I think so. Here, he kept going into the thrill.
Yeah, but he like all the Alethi had the thrill, but I wonder if he was like actually like getting super possessed or something. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
He just seems like supernatural, and one his fighting power. He just murders everybody. It's
I I
really
do
cool.
like the description that Brandon kind of throws in here, with peppers in here, with the thrill, as it being a like a pulse of the battle, or he also uses the word rhythm, and so it really just connects it back to the Parshendi.
Mm.
And we know the thrill comes from Moloch, or whatever that Odium Sprin's name is. So it's like that Parshendi influence in humans, which is
Yeah,
really fun and interesting connection there
yeah.
in the world.
A rhythm of war per se.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then interesting that Dalinar calls what he did to the small town, quote unquote, living.
Oh yeah, he basically feels like dull, and he has to like sate himself with liquor and stuff before, so he like feels something before the next battle. Like he lives only for fighting.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy.
I did have this one quote. It was like, a good fight was about momentum. Don't stop, don't think, drive forward and convince your enemies that they're as good as dead already. That way they'll fight you less as you send them to their pyres.
Yeah, and the fight with the noble, the prince, was pretty fun. It was all the battles are really well written. Come here, cat.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah,
It's fun.
curious where it goes. We see that whatever the no, we'll get to it later, but the whatever bargaining struck has been broken. So you'll see. Because we never figured out his boon, right? We know his curse, but we don't never knew his boon.
Right. I don't think we knew
I
his
don't think
boom.
we knew his boon. And we know his curse is broken, so it'll be
Yeah.
interesting. Um
Yeah.
it's interesting how that happens. Like we're getting flashbacks so early, and then we get the boon or the Night Mother break so early in the book.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see what comes of all that. Anyway, we can move on to chapter 4, Oaths. Um, we get Dalinar again. It's 2 days after Sadeas is dead. The Everstorm returns.
And I think that makes 8 days since they've arrived in Uruthuru.
Yeah, so that's pretty fast
Yeah, so but also Uruthuru is
in the center of it.
it's
Yeah,
west of the
yeah,
Shattered Plains.
yeah.
So I would say 9 or 10 days. So about 2 weeks. Because
Like a 2 week cycle.
or no, I think a week is 5 days. So yeah, 10 days would be 2 weeks. I think it takes 2 weeks for the Everstorm to traverse Roshar.
Yeah, and we know it's not as powerful as a high storm, but it's still powerful enough to like break down buildings and stuff. So
Well, especially since the
ever
buildings are built to buffet winds coming from the opposite direction.
true, but yeah, it's still rough. I still don't quite understand how they're gonna survive, but we'll see. Um, so yeah, uh,
So
yeah,
Valinar's on top of the
yeah. He's talking
tower.
with the Stormfather basically. He we find out that the Everstorm is new, which is interesting.
It
Um,
wasn't part of any of the former
other
desolations.
yeah, just strange. So I wonder how they turn the Parshendi and the other desolations. I guess they just have Spren running around doing it. They don't really need the Everstorm. So I'm curious because this had a like prophecy and stuff because the Honor was talking about it in Dalinar's head, like right with the visions. He's like Everstorm approaches or whatever. So I'm curious how they knew about it.
Yeah,
If it was like a fail safe for Odium or something. Yeah, Odium in past Desolation was like, if you do this, I'm gonna unleash the Everstorm. And then like they beat Odium again, and this time he's like comes back. He's like, all right, enough of this. I'm unleashing the Everstorm. I don't know. We'll see.
right.
Um, yeah, it's crazy. It is strange that it's a new phenomenon. I forgot about that. Um, yeah. Navani's there, and they're all being cute. And
Trying to seduce him.
yeah, she's trying to seduce him. Doesn't have her safe hand covered. She's being naughty. Um, and he wants to marry her, and he's like, none of the Ardents will marry us because we're technically like brother and sister through marriage or whatever. And it's taboo. And he finally tells Navani that like he he can't remember anything about his old wife, even her name or anything like that. It goes away. We do find out that's where he got his shard plate from. I don't know if we knew that previously, but he got his shard plate through marriage. And since we've seen his flashbacks, that's probably why he married her. But we'll see. We haven't actually met her yet in the flashbacks. So then Dalinar is basically like, well, I can appeal to a higher power than the Ardents. I'm kind of bonded to a piece of honor and the Almighty, so let's just get him to marry us. And so they do.
And Navani's like, oh, sure, I'll let a confused dishwasher marry us.
Yeah.
It's like that's a fucked up name.
Yeah. Yeah. She's basically like, I don't care. The world is ending. I don't like whatever religion. We know that the god's dead. Let's just do whatever. Even though they still need the Ardents, which we find out later. So they basically get married with a ceremony. The Ardents are not happy, but they have one guy,
Kadash.
Kadash, yes. He's there to witness it. It's seen kind of as blasphemy and sacrilege and stuff like that. Um, because he's still insisting that God is dead, and that will piss off religious people. um, yeah. Um, then basically this happens. Oh no, okay. So the Elhokar stuff doesn't happen until
Well,
next.
Alucard does talk with him and gives him his blessing
Yeah, but he doesn't.
to marry his mother.
Yeah, but he doesn't do the political thing yet.
No.
Yeah, I thought that happened. But yeah, Elhokar actually says like, "Hey, you're making my mother happy," um, and yeah, we get the name of a battle.
The rift.
Yeah, the Rift.
Well, I mean, there is a battle that happens there, but the rift is the name of that, the alternative name of that city, Rathalos.
Yeah,
And
Rathalos.
that's with
Yeah,
the other flashback chapter we got in this section.
yeah. We get a little, yeah, little hint that some bad stuff happened there. That's kind of it for
Yeah,
that.
so I think it's sorry. I was thinking there's several things here. One, like I like the top of Urithiru, the top level is still 100 yards like wide, so it's as wide as a football field. Just pretty big area
Mhm.
to be the top of a tower that's that tall. Um, Dalinar talking with Kadash and it's like, hey, look, the Almighty was never a god, but just a piece of God, which in the Cosmere we know, it's like as a reader, it's like, okay, he's not wrong. It's it's just a aspect of God, one aspect of it. And so now he's trying to convince the entire religion, like the orders, like, yeah, I know we worshiped him, but we were mistaken. Like, sure, he was our God on this planet, but in the grander scheme of things, he was just a part of God. So yeah, we need to rethink what the religion is. So I think by the end of this book, well, not book, but the end of this arc, there's going to be like a new religion, um, that's more of a Cosmere based religion that might actually harken back to an older religion in the Cosmere before like God was shattered.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because it used to be one god and it was shattered into 16 bits and they scattered all over
Do we have a name of that one guy?
Adol nauseum.
Oh, okay. That's the
Yeah.
actual name of the dude.
Yes.
A terrible name.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought that
also
I thought that was
it
like,
sounds like a metal.
yeah, I thought that was like the act of him blowing up. I didn't know that was the name of him.
I think that's his name.
Okay, well, that's cool.
I'm not going to look it up.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You already got all the spoiler.
um yeah, so
But I'm glad Navani and Dalinar are married. It's a long time coming. 3 books. They can now boon with not having blasphemy,
yeah,
except for
it,
just
it
just a
was
little bit.
it was a lot shorter than I would have thought it would have been. Um
Yeah,
and less dramatic. Um
I'm glad Elhokar like gives his blessing. I'm really for what he does like in this thing. I'm really liking Elhokar. He's becoming a fun character. Like he's been a screw up, and like we'll get to it, but like he knows he's a screw up, so he's trying to change his life for the better. It's fun. I like him a lot.
yeah. And in this chapter I like so we've before this book, we've known that, okay, Dalinar was the Blackthorn. He was a general. He did a lot of things. He helped Gavilar unite. Now we're seeing more of these things. We got one flashback already where we found out how terrible he is. And then we come back to the modern day, and Kadash is like, brings up something like a terrible event, which Dalinar cannot remember. And so it's gonna be fun to find out what that thing is that Kadash was like hinting at. It's like, hey, you did this
Yeah,
thing in the past, and I
and we
don't
have
know how you live with yourself.
a hint that it had to deal with his wife, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
There's his wife or a battle.
a battle, yeah, something like that.
So
We
We'll
shall
see.
see. So we get to chapter 5, where we just take a break and play Hearthstone. Ha
Yeah.
ha ha. Um, so yeah, that's the entire chapter. Kaladin and Syl just play a card game. We do get to a card game later, but
We
not this
do.
chapter. So, yeah, Kaladin's walking towards Hearthstone, his hometown, if we remember from book one. He ran out of Stormlight, so he's having to walk. Um, he basically goes to town, sees the devastation of the Everstorm, um, and he's like trying to find survivors and stuff. But then he goes to the um, Roshon's manor house and sees lights, and he's kind of let inside. It's kind of what happens.
Yeah. So yeah, we got him to he made a stop. I mean, one of the stops they showed was a little place called Hobbleton, which was 2 hours from there. Um uh, oh, some funny things. Syl is she decides to imitate a lurg, like she sees a lurg on the side of the wall. She goes, "Oh, that's cool," and then makes herself look like it. This is um yeah, I mean, not too much happens here. Just some funny stuff. This is where we discover, along with Kaladin, or rather, Kaladin discovers. I think we already knew that, probably from Edge Dancer, that the Everstorm doesn't recharge the spheres with Stormlight. Kaladin also says, or a different kind of energy investiture, and that Kaladin thought that it might be charged with something else instead of Stormlight, and was happily surprised that it did not. Syl also refers to somebody she calls her aunt, which is just another honor spren that used to go hunting for gloom spren. So just
Yeah.
silly Syl things. Um, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's that chapter.
Yep.
Moved right down into
Yeah, like this is kind of like a setup chapter for the next, stuff. Just you see, we do see the devastation. It's not it's not crazy, but it is like blowing down houses and stuff. Like what do you think? You say like what? Probably like a more like a category one hurricane or like a category two. You think?
I mean, I think between like a tropical storm and a category one,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
because I mean, we think we when we live in cities, modern
Yeah,
cities like this, a category one, yeah, it'll probably knock out power, but it's not really strong enough to do
yeah.
structural damage to modern buildings.
Some trees will fall down and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you go out to farmhouses and that kind of stuff, where you've got peasants and stuff and non-modern construction, those probably are going to get toppled by a category one, category two. So,
Yeah, because the first one that we saw last book was like a category 25 because it was like
but that was the clash between
true, but still it
the
must have
super
been
high storm that the Stormfather was like, you know what?
yeah,
Here, take this. I'm gonna destroy you all. Um,
yeah. But
fuck
it
that.
was still bigger than what we got for the regular Everstorm, which makes sense because like I was like we're getting this like every week, like the world's just dead, like we're all dead. Like
Yeah.
there's like I was like just last book I was like all right I guess the world is actually over because there's nothing to do in this category. I mean, still a category one hurricane hitting every 2 weeks would like
Oh, yeah.
would kill the
Your
entire world
your
anyway.
crops would die.
Yeah, it's like I still don't understand how they're gonna survive.
Well, Uruthero, obviously.
Sure, but that can't hold the entire planet.
You don't have to. It'll hold 10% of the population.
Are we gonna Noah's Ark it?
Well, I mean, the desolations leave what? The each desolation kills about 90%, right?
Sure, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, hopefully there's not another true desolation, but
yeah. I was just thinking, like, even without the Parshindy, I don't know how humanity survives if you're getting like a Category 1 hurricane every 2 weeks, and then like the high storm, which sure they've evolved how to like protect against it, but like if their barriers blow down from the Everstorm, then like the high storm just comes in twice them out.
oh
And
yeah,
there are cities there. They made a point of making those cities that God created in book one with the sand stuff that has protection from both sides, right? Because
yeah.
like Kolinar has protection from both sides. So like there are bastions of cities, but still, I don't know how much food they can make. It's bad.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. All right, we get chapter 6. Unless you got anything else.
Nope.
All right, Four Lifetimes. This is another Kaladin chapter. Um, this is Kaladin kind of reconnects with everybody chapter. Um, he goes inside. He sees a bunch of his like old acquaintances that he knows. Most people don't recognize him because he's uh like a soldier. He's also ragged and unkempt beards and stuff like that. Cat, gotta move so I can read my notes. Move, cat, or just lay down. Um, yeah, yeah. He sees his parents. He sees Laren and Hasina. Yeah,
Hesina, yeah.
yeah, Hasina. Um, uh, he tells him about he couldn't save Tien. Um, still just reminds me of
Cries
Dragon
like
Ball
a
Z.
baby.
Yeah, it still just made his brother had three eyes. Um, um, yeah, they uh they were told that Kaladin was also dead because it makes sense because of Amaram covering stuff up. So they have a tearful reunion. His son is back alive with them. It's very cool. Um, cat, sorry, cat is being annoying. She loves to lay on the escape key and just like mess everything up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Um. Uh. So the guards are like, you're a deserter. You got like the slash sign. So we're gonna take you into custody because desertion is bad, punishable by death. Laren's like, all right, I'm gonna quit if you're gonna take my son. Like, we're not doing this again. We do get that Rashon has seemed to have kind of softened in these years. Seemed to have realized he like overstepped and was super evil. Um, what else happened? We meet Rashon again, and Kaladin punches him in the face, and he's like, "This is for my friend Moash, who tried to assassinate a king because of you."
Yes.
He doesn't say that part.
He's like,
It's
this.
implied.
It's like, bop. Uh, yeah. So like his father is like, I'll buy his writ of slavery and all
Yeah,
this stuff. Um, it makes sense that Rashon and everybody, like Rashon especially, would be untrusting of Kaladin with all the brands that Kaladin has on his forehead. But I really had forgotten like that was a possibility of him going back. It's, you know, as often as we are reminded that he has brands on his forehead, I forget
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. I mean, he's grown a lot since book one, um, where he was, where that was brought up a lot and was keeping him down because he was actually a slave.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah, it's good to see his his family and stuff. His father was really cool in book one, and his mom seems very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just this. Yeah, it's strange. This is super small scale for what the book set up, but it's fun. It's like he's just saving this one little town.
It has that return to the Shire feel.
Yeah,
So kind of a fantasy trope. But the difference here is we never saw, well, I mean we did, but it wasn't the beginning of our story. Like Kaladin leaving home was not the beginning of our story.
no,
Um, not like the Fellowship leaving the Shire and or rather the Hobbits leaving the Shire, or even our core group in Wheel of Time leaving Two Rivers. So
yeah,
it's not quite the same, but it does have that feel of returning home because I mean it is
yeah,
returning home. So
yeah. It's just this, like I said at the start, this book really sets up that it's like almost a new series almost, because like it's very like deliberate and somewhat slow. It's still good, but it's somewhat slow in its setup right now.
yeah,
We're getting new, I guess, arcs for all the characters and stuff. So it very feels like, all right, Kaladin's doing this like Hearthstone stuff, and he's going to meet the Pershini. We're going to learn more about the awakened Pershini, blah blah blah. So it's like not like the apocalypse has happened, everything's dying. Well, I guess it's not all frenetic as you might think it would be for the ending of the second book. Where like Dalinar's like, all right, I'm gonna get married, and then I'm gonna like talk. I'm gonna try to talk to people. And that's kind of his arc.
and I think we're not there yet, but I think the chapter with Shallan creating brightness radiant
Mm,
is an excellent like micro representation of what you just said.
yeah,
Because it's like, okay, they have started like they have to become something new now that they are Radiants. And it makes sense that
yeah,
the book would have that feel of, okay, we're something new now. How do we grow? All right,
yeah,
this is how he's going to do it. And as a writer, it's like, how do I do that? Okay, let's put them back in unfamiliar um, places and situations again and have
yeah,
them grow from that.
yeah. Like it's not bad. It's just like an observation I had because like the Shattered Plains was a whole like basically a two-book arc, and then just like ends. Like there's no more of that. There's no more a lot of stuff, so they have to actually do that and kind of start over with the narrative. And it's fun, but it is a little slow, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's like our Dragon Ball Z group has defeated Vegeta, and now we've got to go to Namek.
Yep, to resurrect all the friends that Vegeta killed.
Yes.
And somehow Vegeta becomes a good guy, kind of like Dalinar. Ooh, is Dalinar Vegeta?
If Dalinar's Vegeta, who's Goku?
Kaladin or Adolin? Well,
Hmm.
no, then Dalinar would have to be Raditz if Adolin was Goku.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shalana is Bulma.
Shallan is Bulma. Yasna is Chi-Chi.
Master Roshi. Nah, nah.
Yasna is Master Roshi. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yasna is Whis.
Whis. Oh, Beerus's
Yeah.
person. Gotcha. Shall we move on to chapter
Yeah.
7?
Sorry for all the anime talk, people, but watch some DBZ. It's good. All
Yeah.
right, we can do
I mean,
chapter
this is
7.
kind of a nerdy podcast, so
Yeah, and this series is basically an anime.
yes.
It's got the giant swords. It's got the power armor. It's got basically becoming Super Saiyan with your eyes glowing when you get your powers. Uh, they don't get blonde hair though. He should have done full Super Saiyan,
Yeah.
but oh well. We can get to chapter 7. A Watcher at the Rim. This is another Kaladin. Kind of just picks up right where this the previous chapter ended. Kaladin just punched Rashon. Rashon's like, "All right, arrest him," and he's like, I got a shard blade. What's up? Um, he does apologize for hitting him because he's like, I can't be a child anymore. But then he's like, boom, I have a shard blade. Then basically he's like, all right, tell me everything. He finds out that the Parshinni transformed and then kind of just broke and got some food, some wheat or grain. He gets maps, he gets a span read. He talks with Dalinar. Basically gives them information. They once again have had no communication with Kolinar itself. I think he does he get told to like, go to Kolinar if he can? I think so, right?
Uh, not sure. It
Uh,
sounds reasonable.
yeah. Um, but he basically talks with Dad. He wants them to like um he wants everybody to go to another city, right? God, my notes are so bad. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Like,
He meets Laryl again, and she's like, "Why'd you hit my husband?" Like, blah blah blah. She's like, basically berates him and stuff. She had to make the best of her circumstances, but she gets the maps. Uh, yes. He starts helping Laryl with the wounded. Laryl's uh disappointed that Kaladin became a killer, basically. Um, solid. He does acknowledge that the Voidbringers have to be a fault. Somebody has to do it. Um, but once again, he wanted Paladin to become a surgeon, but that's not kind of possible. Um, yeah, yeah. Talks with Navani. I did.
yeah, so essentially the span read communication with Dalinar, it's served to authenticate Kaladin's position.
Yeah,
And then Kaladin was like, I want to investigate the
yeah,
Voidbringers.
that's
And
right.
he's like, yeah, do that. So whether that brings him to Kolinar or not, I don't think he necessarily said go to Kolinar and check out
Yeah,
what's there. He obviously needs somebody to
yeah.
go to
I
Kolinar.
think it's in the later chapter. He's like hoping that Kaladin will go to Kolnar, but he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think he orders him to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, let's
Oh
see.
yeah, he meets his brother.
He meets his baby brother, Oridon, and it's funny. I really did cry. Like truly
It
have a
was
tear
sweet.
here
Yeah,
when he met his baby brother. I was like, "Oh no."
it was sweet.
Because he's probably gonna die. It's just gonna be sad, but hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Yeah. Um, he gets more spheres, of course.
He trades
Yes,
his Dun spheres and then
he
ship.
wants. Yeah, he wants to learn to take his family to safety, but his father refuses. So, yeah, so they're gonna stay and help out. He like does the Stormlight thing. He's like, the Nice Radiants have returned, and everybody cheers, and he goes to hunt some Voidbringers. Yeah.
It flies south.
Yep. Because and we get a nifty map of no wait, is it not that's the other chapter
There is a map somewhere
of
we do get.
Alucard.
Yeah,
So he's like in the north, um, kind of northwest-ish, very north of because Sadius is he actually Sadius doesn't have that big of a territory, which is interesting. But
yeah,
Kolinar is not that far from
right.
Hearthstone. It's like it's
So he's heading
Kolinar's
south
here.
towards Kolinar.
Yeah. So if he's heading because it seems like Voidbringers are being sent to Kolinar, if we find out later. Anyway, that's kind of that. Hopefully his brother and mother and father won't die, and they'll just be chilling there.
Yeah,
Be good for them not to die.
yeah.
Uh, it is kind of funny that Rodin is somewhat similar to Odium. But it's a child of peace. I know, it's just like it's another O name. I was like, oh no, he has an O name and it's odium. No, he's gonna be possessed. Do you think he Erodin is gonna be a main character post time skip?
I don't know.
Yeah, you could call your shot now. We have a descendant.
If he doesn't die, yes. Obviously.
You'd be like, my big brother Kaladin is yeah, he's being all emo while Kaladin's like old and wizened. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And he's whatever the opposite of a windrunner is, because he's all emo. He's a Renara, he's a truth, whatever.
Truth Watcher.
Yeah, he's a truth watcher.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, we can move on to chapter 8, a powerful lie, as a pattern would say, lie. This is a Shallan chapter. Um, she's trying to draw Eritrea, but she's like having trouble doing it because it's massive. Um, Once again, patterns like, I understand why you hate me, but she's like, I only hate the sword, not you, even though it's illogical because he's the same thing. But and it gives more clarity on like why she never used her shard blade any other times, because she absolutely hates it, even though she didn't remember that like subconscious thing. Still was was in her mind. Scout comes to report that Dalinar wants to see her. Um, she she like goes. She knows that she's like a known person now. Just another because she's a radiant, like everybody knows her. She's so used to being kind of invisible. Um, oh yeah, she pretends to be an L's caller to hide her ability to make
Illusions.
illusions,
Yeah.
which is what Yasna. I don't know if we knew it before, but we probably did. But that's Yasna's order. Um,
We found out from Wit in the epilogue of book 2.
yeah, I thought that might have just been the ability to teleport or whatever that she was doing, but that's actual, um, the actual thing.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to use her sword because the scout's like, "Oh, you have a shard blade," but she doesn't want to use it. So we get into a kind of a meeting where Dalinar is trying to get the rulers of the world to kind of listen to him and work with him. It is not going well. Yeah. He's like, Shallan, what do you know? And she's like, I'm just a child, basically. I don't know anything. You need like Yasna or Navani knows way more about this than anything else. Oh yeah, and then she like basically creates a giant like Stormlight map of the world, and it's really cool, but also kind of useless.
And she mentioned that it wasn't just her, it was like Dalinar has influence over other Radiants, so it was like a mix of their
Two
two
powers, yeah.
abilities.
Yeah, because like she used the Stormfather's knowledge to like make, and it was like a really cool. It was like an actual like 3D map. Like you see the valleys
It
and
took up the entire room,
yeah,
but then disappeared whenever they left the room.
yeah.
Like,
Like
oh,
it doesn't really do anything. It's just really cool. It's just kind of funny. And she's like, ah, and like it. Yeah, I thought it might do more than what it did, but I guess it's setting up for something cool. Um, Yeah, they want to basically open the way gate, the oath gates. God, goddamn wheel time. The oath gates.
open the way
And
gates.
open the way gates. Don't travel the ways. In Azir, Yakaved, and Thaladin. Not Thaladin. Thalen.
Thalen.
Yeah.
Or Thalen, yeah, Thalen City in Thalen.
Yeah. Um. There's been and then at the end of this chapter, there's been another murder. Oh no, Aelin, he's just a serial killer now.
Yeah. Or is he?
Or is he? I think, yeah, I think this is just This book is just gonna be Aelin becoming Dexter. He's like, "You're part of my code."
Yeah.
We find a bunch of blood vials in Adelin's room. It's gonna be really nasty.
They're little stormlight gems with drops of blood in them.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. Uh, we get a name for the scout, Lynn. Uh, I don't know if she's important, but they name dropped her, and she said more than like a random NPC does. So keep
What
my eye
what
out
was
on
her name?
Lynn, Lyn.
Lyn.
Yeah.
Huh. So
I don't know if she's gonna be important, but I'm picking up these new character names of these ladies, so I don't know.
yeah. Um yeah, so they talk about the war between Emil and Tukar again and the warlord Tesm, and that he claims that he's an aspect of the Almighty. And so this makes me think that he has some type of shard. Because isn't the God King in Tukar?
Think so.
And isn't that the same as the warlord Tesm? Like,
Yeah, I assume I didn't read it. I never said anything, but I assume the God King is just another herald, right?
I don't.
That makes the most sense to me, unless he's just like maybe he's a crab man as well.
Yeah, I didn't think Harold, but here where it says he's an aspect of the Almighty, Harold does fit, but I my mind went to he has an actual like shard of one of the
Well, we know
aspects.
the other eight are in Shin, right?
I'm not talking about a blade. I'm talking
Oh,
about a
oh, an actual shard.
yeah, like a shard of God that bestows power. So like the in Mistborn, the final empire, the Lord Ruler had
Yeah,
a shard. Like
but aren't
he
there only two shards on Roshar that we know of?
there's three.
Well, odium, but like there's odium, honor, and cultivation, right?
Right.
So maybe he took cult, or maybe he took honor's shard because we
But
don't
like
know what happened
honor
to it.
honor is broken into pieces, and I know that there are it gets muddy, but from other books I know that some of them that have been shattered, like so Odium, he's killed multiple shards, like killed them, which splintered them. So there's these splinters of those shards, but if you held one of those splinters, you have access to part of the power.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe it's that.
Um, then there's also a character in Mistborn books that wasn't special but became special. Um, that was through something of one of the shards. I'm not going to spoil that here, but you can probably figure out who that is. If
Uh,
not, I'll tell you later.
from a yeah. Okay, I think I know.
It's somebody that was about to die.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are little bits and there's ways to make somebody have aspects of certain shards. So I was thinking that here. So
Maybe. They keep bringing this guy up. Maybe he'll be in the book at one point.
yeah, they do keep bringing him up, and it's not to me, it's not coincidental.
Him and May Aladar will have a tea together and be like, "Hey, we were mentioned a couple of times."
Shallan drops a nickname, another nickname for Kaladin, Bright Lord Brooding Eyes.
Yeah.
Some of
It
her stuff is just hilarious.
it fits.
Yeah. So, but that yeah, that's it. That's all I have for that chapter.
Maybe he'll be less broody now that he has his family back and he has a brother, another
Brother, Scott.
brother who's gonna be important in 5 books from now.
Yeah.
It's that.
Chapter 9,
Chapter 9.
The Threads of a Screw.
Yes, this is another Shallan POV. Uh, they go investigate the new murder victim who's Fedkar Perel. He's another member of he's a member of Sabariel's army. Um, Seems like a bright lord, but not super
Yeah, he's like an
important.
officer, so
Yeah. Uh, I love everything that she just can't keep up with the long strides of the Alethi. It's just really funny every time it happens. Um, she's enjoying being like important that nobody like sends her away when you know she can just look at a murder scene and nobody can scoffs at it. Which is cool. Um, it's the exact way the guy was murdered the exact way that Sadius was. So
through the eye,
through the eye.
laid the body in the exact same position.
Yeah. So man, Adolin just got a taste for killing people now. He does appear shocked and distracted. I wonder why. And then Dalinar task Adolin with investigation, which is good for him, so he won't get caught unless he's really dumb. Um, and it seems like Renarin knows that Adolin killed Sadius. He's looking at him weird. Um,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
But I don't think Adolin killed this guy.
no,
He's
but
because he is like Shallan notices that like Adolin is shocked when he sees that this body is in the same position. She's like, why is he so shocked at this? Like,
yeah. So we have a copycat killer. We do know that the Ghost Bloods are in here, so I wonder if they're using this as a cover to like kill people like this, or if it's another secret society, or if Adolin is snapped and he's like a goody two shoes and then turns into a killer at night. Should be cool.
or
I,
maybe
I
there's somebody that can is an ultimate assassin slash spy.
No, it's Shallan. She's killing people, and she does have multiple. She can like break her brain, becoming brightness radiant. So maybe she's brightness assassin,
Yeah.
and she just randomly kills a member of Sabrara's army
Or
for no reason.
Vale. I mean, she could have
Yeah,
done it as Vale,
true.
but why
Uh,
would Vale? See, the
Kill
problem
this.
with that is why would Vale do that? I don't think Shallan knows that Adolin
Yeah,
killed,
got that. Move.
and I don't think Vale knew either, unless for some reason Shallan was as Vale and was just like stalked, like happened to be roaming around Urithiru as Vale and happened to like see.
Well, Shallan still remembers everything, so it'd be like impossible for. Oh yeah, that's the guy I killed last night as Vale. Um, so like it's not her.
But
It's
she could
pro.
have been doing that block, that trauma block thing. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah,
that's still something that'll happen to her.
yeah. I would say it's very unlikely, but we shall see. Um, Probably it's the Ghost Bloods. I'm guessing, or it's like Amaranth and the Sons of Honor or something that are taking.
Did I call my shot on a previous episode about my theory that Amaram and Elhokar are stone wardens?
No, but
Okay,
that's
I think they are. And it was and the reason why is that the description in one of the epigraphs of the stone wardens, it fit both of them.
mm,
Their personality fit. And we know for sure, one, um, well, Amaram went and he has something to do with Talonat for some reason.
well,
Uh,
it's because he wants the heralds to return, basically.
right, but also Talonat saved his life at that point when from
Yeah,
what's her
he
name?
caught the dart or whatever.
But then also we know Elhokar probably is a Knights Radiant because he sees things. Um, but he has not quite, maybe he's changing, but he hasn't quite made the ideals, spoke the ideals. So
Yeah.
but I think they're both Stone Wardens. Um,
Do we know what Storm Wardens do?
the Stone Wardens, no, but I don't know what they do.
Okay.
But
Well,
Dust, out of all of the orders, I think Dustbringer is the one I want to know most about.
Dustbringer?
The
Interesting.
Dustbringers. It's like because I know in one of the flashbacks or something, or maybe it was the prelude where it's like the Dustbringers did their job. I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Tell me what that
Maybe
means. What did they do?
maybe they fought the decay form or whatever. Um but yeah, so we got a copycat killer going on. Um Curious where this is gonna go. Gives Adolin a storyline, which is good because he kind of really hasn't had much to do. His because he killed Sadius, and I was like, all right, that's kind of what was his arc. So most of his stuff is like, becoming more of a high prince and stuff. He doesn't really have an arc right now. So this gives him something to do in the book, which is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. I'm gonna call it right now. I think it has to do with Ghost Bloods.
Okay.
We'll see. There's the only assassins here. Um, right.
That's all I have for
Yeah.
that chapter.
We can go to chapter 10, Distractions. This is a dual POV. We got some Kaladin, we got some Adolin. So Kaladin's still uh chasing after the Voidbringers. He goes to a village called Horn Hollow. Um yeah, he's talking with Syl. Syl's like, hey, you're actually happy. Just kind of insane. He hasn't been happy this entire series. Because he found his mom and dad alive, and he has a little brother now, and it's making him not quite so sad, which is good. He needs to change. Oh yeah. So it's like, man, I could be a mother. He's like, how? And he's like, the Stormfather somehow birthed her, so maybe she could become as powerful as the Stormfather. Calvin just needs a couple of shards, and he'll become Honor, and she'll become the new Stormfather, the Storm Mother. Um, he goes to the town. He gets more infused spheres. Um,
They get some of them get disappointed that he didn't trade 2 for 1, but
yeah,
it makes sense that he can't continue to do that.
yes. Um, they were attacked by a rogue Parshman, which is the first sign of violence they've had. Uh, yeah, this is where the Parshman attacked the grain storage and took some grain and like fled basically. Um, what else?
Conversation with the female Ardent made Syl think that she liked him,
Hmm.
and she starts to kind of prod him to find a woman to kind of settle with.
Yes, this is when we find out that Syl has been watching people have sex.
Yeah, it's just
And then Calvin's like, if I find a woman, Syl's just gonna be watching me and shouting encouragement at me. It was really funny.
Yeah, I took the quote. He tried unsuccessfully to banish the image of lying in bed with a woman still sitting on the headboard and shouting out encouragement and advice.
Uh,
Oh man. Yeah.
which I guess will happen, so we'll look forward to that. It's just a foreshadowing. Um, yes, this is when we find out that this Parchment are heading to Kolinar. And then we go to Adolin. Adolin visits Gallant, Dalinar's Rashadium horse, where he mourns Sureblood. It's very sad. He like gives Gallant some treats, and he talks with Renarn as he appears. Um, oh yeah, Renarn's like, you should have Shallan draw Sureblood. Be very sweet memento for the horse. And he also gives back his shard blade because holding it hurts, and he has his own blade, which he forms, which is cool. So Renarin has taken the third oath. Um,
I think it says he like states that he wasn't quite ready, but he convinced his spren that he needed it for the blade to operate the oath gates.
yeah,
Is that
I think so.
did you get that feeling too?
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Um, yeah, we haven't met his spring yet, right?
No, we know his name,
Yeah,
which I didn't write down here, but um his name has been mentioned and
yeah.
I haven't written it down, but
Let's see if I can find it real fast. Gliss?
Gliss, yeah.
Yeah.
Glys.
Yeah, it just happened. Gliss wasn't certain he could do it, but we need more people to work the Oathgate. And then he like a thin shard blade, no cross guard.
It's like a fencing sword.
Basically, yeah, like a little rapier almost. Um,
Fun.
yeah, it's cool. So Renarin now has, I guess, the third oath. Uh,
So this part was cool. Renarin looked at him or looked to him, Adolin, then
mm,
smiled. A pulse of radiance washed through Adolin, and for an instant he saw himself perfected, a version of himself that was somehow complete and whole, the man he could be. So truth watchers apparently can show a person their future. Um, hopefully the truth, and it's not a lie.
hopefully,
Not a hopeful, not like Shalon's, hey, here's what you could be, but more, this is what you are.
yeah,
But we know that Shalon, when she draws things as they could be, they get inspired to do that and believe they can become that. So it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's almost like telling the future.
yeah. And then we also his arm is healed that he broke in the battle. So Truth Watchers also have, I guess, regrow. So they are tied with lifts things.
Yeah, maybe. Um, I just kind of thought it's just radiance in general can because
I
there's a difference
don't think they can heal
between,
other people though.
yeah, I don't know. It's a possibility. But I'm saying what you're saying is
Yeah.
plausible. So
Well, you know, each order has one different and one the same as another order. So
correct. Both abilities of each order
are tied to two different,
will tied to a separate
yeah, order.
one. They'll share it. So
Yeah. So the only one we know right now that can heal is Lift, is the Edge Dancers. So Truth Watcher, it's weird to have it tied with them. Unless like there's like a like you said, a different ability that's not regrow that heals. Because I don't see him doing stuff with plants.
yeah, no,
So
I don't see plants in his future.
so I don't know how he healed him then. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But then the the Herald healed Seth. He's the Herald of the Stormbreakers, but he's also a Herald, so he could just probably do anything he wanted to. He might have all the surges. So that's that because I don't think the Stormbreakers have healing.
Skybreakers.
Skybreak. I say Stormbreakers every time.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But we need another order. So I guess I don't know. I don't know, it's weird. I assume that he has healing, but maybe it's something else. Maybe like whenever he like sees your future, he can like heal you or some weird thing like that. I don't know.
I don't know, or maybe all radiants are able to infuse a little bit of healing into people.
Possibly.
Not bring them back to life. I think the regrowth is like bringing back to life.
Yeah, and it can like shoot up plants and stuff.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. But I guess hopefully we'll get more clarity on that because it's a little confusing right now.
yeah.
All right.
Chapter 11.
It's the Rift. We get another Dalinar chapter of
Flashback.
flashback. He's got a shard plate now, which means he's
It's a year
married.
later
Yep, it's a
from
year
the
later.
previous flashback.
Yep. Which we know means he's married. Um, let's see.
Dalinar is not married.
Yes, but I thought he got his shard plate from. Oh, he got a shard blade from.
He has a blade. I don't know if he's wearing plate.
No, he's got shard plate. He's wearing his new shard plate in this.
Yeah, but in this one,
He
Sadia.
doesn't. He doesn't have a blade, so I guess it was his shard blade that he gets from the wife, right?
No, he gets the shard blade from this
From
chapter
this, yeah,
when he kills this Tanalan guy.
yeah.
But so
I thought he got a shard plate from marriage. I thought that's what they
we're
said.
I
Because
feel like that's
because the Aesir want or not the Aesir, the whatever want his plate back.
right. They
Yeah.
do. The Makabaki is it
Yeah.
Makabaki
No,
or
it's like that queen lady they're talking to
oh
later.
Erie, the
Yeah.
Erie Queen,
Yeah.
or was it Queen Finn? Is that was
Yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, here at the beginning, he's excited in his new shard blade, or shard
Sure.
plate.
Plate, yeah.
Um, and he's like, "Man, this is awesome to move around with."
No, wait.
Then Sadius is
No,
like trying to
wait.
get
Okay,
Dalinar
wait.
to
No,
marry.
I get it now. I got confused. He got because it's right here. He won his storm plate by kicking a guy off a cliff. That's how he got it. I'm pretty sure Adolin's plate is from the mob.
Yes, Adolin's plate is.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
That makes sense. All
yes.
right. So he's not married yet. He's got a sharp.
Sadius and Gavilar are
Yeah.
encouraging him to marry. Well, Sadius is, and he's like, "I'm not going to marry unless Gavilar orders me to."
Yeah. He has no interest in marriage, basically, because the only woman he ever loved, Navani, is already married,
To
um,
Gavilar.
and Yasna is already born. Yay! We have a little baby Yasna that we do not see. So we have Talana.
That doesn't match up.
Uh,
Yasna's 36 or 37. This is 33 years ago.
yeah, I mean,
Oh, wait.
he's already
Yes, that
married.
matches up.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, she's a few
yeah,
years old at this point.
yeah. Yes. We're all
Math is hard.
getting mathed up. So we have the High Lord of the city who has a shard blade, but not a plate. They're gonna basically fight in this rift. It's like a town that's in a hole, basically. So it's kind of like very hard to like get through. Um, there's like catapults and cool stuff, and he's like fighting his way down it with his elites. And basically, eventually, he gets to like a ridge overlooking like a thing, like a yeah, like a you
Well,
can look
it's
down.
almost like a
It's
wall
like a
around.
wall, like a battlement, basically. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Like a battlement is looking through, and it was a trap. It's a trap. They basically break it, and they all fall down. He like falls through like a bunch of houses. It'd be really cool animated. See that, or if they could do it live action. So he basically falls all the way down. Does not die, but like all of his elites are dead. Um, then he's pretty messed up though. Then he like basically he has his hammer, which is cool. We get to see more of the shard hammers. We he basically attacks Talonellan, these names. The High Lord with the sharp blade, they like fight. Um he uh
Well, like directly before their fight, he's running across a bridge, and two of the soldiers start to chop the support post at the other end,
he has to
and
jump
then
off him.
Taleb plucks them with arrows.
Hmm.
And then there he starts facing off with Tanalan,
Yeah.
and he jumped. So like Dalinar jumps and falls, which collapses the platform they're fighting on. Um, and so they crash down, and then two of Tanalan's soldiers kind of help him up, and they run off. And Dalinar is chasing them, but they
Yeah.
go off into a secret door, but
And
he
that
sees
and,
where they are.
and then Dalinar murders an entire family.
Yes.
Mm.
Yep. And then so after he murders the prince or High Lord, High Prince, and his son, um, Dalinar, they're back. He's back with Gavilar, and he's hiding his shame and guilt from Gavilar. And Gavilar is insisting that they need to be more careful and more diplomatic in the future. Um, and then that's when Gavilar. Oh wait, I don't know if it was Gavilar or Sadius that pointed out that the sword he just won from Tanalan was Oathbringer, which
Yeah.
belonged to Sadis, the Sunmaker.
Sunmaker, who we know is basically an Alethi, basically the Alethi Alexander the Great, tried to like conquer the world, but failed.
Yeah. His name is too close to Sadius.
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson, why did you take naming pointers from Robert Jordan?
It's the best part of Wheel of Time, right? Just got all these S names.
Is it this Sean or that Sean?
Yeah. Everyone's Sean. Yeah. Fun chapter.
That's
Cool.
how Dalinar gets Oathbringer.
Yeah. And we found out how he got his shard blade plate as well. Um cool city. I like the idea of it. Kind of like a vertical city. Um, yeah, fun. He was a strong military man back in the day,
Yeah.
working people.
Nope.
And, yeah, yeah. Also a drunkard. He just has to fight.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't like when he's sober and not in the thrill, the things he does in war sicken him. So
Yeah.
there we go.
All right, we can move on to chapter 12, negotiations. This is a Dalinar POV. Yeah, so starts off with Dalinar talking once again to the Storm Father. He's trying to get like why the knights betrayed the spread, like why all of them did. But the Stormfather unfortunately gives us no answers. He's like,
You're not ready for
"You're
that.
not ready yet." Yeah. So just spoil us a little bit, Stormfather. Be nice. Um, this is when we get some Gox, Emperor of Azir, contacted him by Spanreed. He's trying to get them to open the Oath Gate so they can visit Urithiru directly. But they're like answering vaguely and kind of just being a little coy about doing that. We kind of get at we kind of get through a lot of these things that they're worried about opening up a way for like an army to instantly teleport into their cities and just kill them all. The Alethi are warlike, as we know.
It makes
Um, it
sense.
makes sense. Um, so I don't think I don't think Azer told them about lifts that they're actually able to open it if they wanted to.
No,
Um,
I don't think
yeah,
Docs did not mention anything
yeah.
about lift.
So he's kind of like we could send somebody to open it for you, but like they don't really have anybody right now. Um, oh yeah, um, yeah, their port that no longer works, but they're not buying it. So Azir is kind of a dead end right now. We'll see if we meet lift this book. Go ahead.
Yeah, Gox first mentioned that they were in negotiations with the Parshmen, but then later on recanted that and said, "Oh no, I was lying about that." Like, which made it weird. Like, makes me think that the Parshmen were there and were making them like basically holding them hostage and telling them what to say.
What I got is that Gox, since he's just a street urchin, said that, and then the like advisors were like, you
You don't.
Grand Emperor, you don't want to say that," and like so he like recanted it. That's kind of what I thought, but it could be that they're held
It,
hostage. That would
it
be cool.
could
That
be
would be
yours
cool.
too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. We don't know. Maybe we'll get some lift interludes or something. I'm curious what the interludes are going to be for this part, which we'll find out next week.
yeah. I mean, he did say they were strong. Some of the Parshmen were stronger than others.
Hmm.
And then what we see later on in the Squires Can't Capture chapter um, makes sense that some of them aren't like it brings me to mind of the corruptness of the Red Spren, like versus those that were like, no, we don't want to do it. Um, so maybe not all of them have somebody that leads them, but they're following like they change in the storm, so they're following the rhythm and going where the rhythm is pushing them. Uh, but they don't have anybody commanding them yet. But in Asia, there might be somebody commanding them, and so
Yeah.
I think I think it's not illogical
No.
that could be
No.
there.
We literally don't know. I'm hopeful right now that Azer hasn't fallen, so it's just like Gox being kind of a dumbass. But we shall see.
Yeah, but his
Um,
statement about the Oath Gate, they're like basically what they said about the Oath Gate is, yeah, it doesn't, it's not functioning when nobody is attending to it. It's
but
like,
also like
yeah,
if
it's true.
it'd be pretty dangerous if your thing is correct because they could be like, "Yeah, bring us over," and they just bring over an entire army of Parshendi, and it's just like chaos. That'd be a really cool scene.
Yeah,
That'd be yeah. So we shall see. Then he talks to the Queen of
they don't
Talent,
know.
Delano. Yeah. She's like she's one. They have like a triumvirate, right? She's the basically the Foreign Affair Queen. Um, she has this like
Which
course.
the
Yeah.
terminology is weird because it's like they have three monarchs. That's not what a monarchy
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. It's basically a triumvirate. Like three consuls or something, or like a prime minister and a president or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Um, but yeah, so she's talking more informally. She seems really fun. She says that the Parshendi they stole all their ships because they're like on an island, I think. They don't know. Or they're known for their ships. So they're trying to basically um
And these are
they're
the same.
trying
This is the same place that Kalb is from, um, who Shallan was riding with, the pirate guy, the
yeah.
long. They've got the
Oh, the whisker, the long eyebrows.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, they're rebuilding their city after the Everstorm. Once again,
Their
Dalinar was
aqueduct, sewers, and docks were destroyed. from
Yeah,
the storm.
which is bad. He offers to like send troops to like, help rebuild. Once again, they're like, maybe, I don't know. Um, so once again, we kind of figure out that they are not that reticent to let a foreign army be able to teleport inside their city at any time, which makes sense. I think are they also negotiating with the Persian Oh, maybe not.
No, I
Um,
don't think I don't have any notes that she was
yeah,
in negotiations.
yeah, yeah. He tells them to kind of look out for kind of special individuals that could be radiants, and he can help train them in Erethiru. And she's like, maybe. Um, Basically talks to a bunch of other lesser monarchs and stuff. That doesn't really give him any headway. This is when Elokar comes in and is like, "You've been usurping my throne." And Dalinar's like, "I didn't mean to," and he's kind of like, "Bullshit, you've been meaning to. I haven't really been a great king and stuff like this. But like, I kind of finally figured out what you're gonna do. You're gonna be the king of Irithiru, and I will swear fealty to you. That way, you will have the power, but you won't be usurping my positions." And he wants to go and liberate Kolinar because he's heard his wife has been doing dumb things there, and he wants he, once again, kind of you get the sense of his admiration for Kaladin because
He wants
he
to go
wants
back with Kaladin.
with Kaladin, but Kaladin's already left. So yeah, so he wants Kaladin basically to open up the Oath Gate, and then he can send Elokar through it basically with the army and subjugate Kolinar. And then we get a message from Teravangian, king of Yakovet and Kharbranth, and he agrees with Dalinar's plan. And he also has a Radiant, Lady Radiant, who we don't know. And he's gonna try to open the Oath Gate. So we don't get anything from that this reading. So I'm curious about this new Radiant, and she's probably in cahoots with the diagram. And we'll see. I want Teravangian and Dalinar to be like in cahoots because Teravangian's cool, and him working with Dalinar is gonna be fun. So yeah, this chapter's good.
So
Maybe.
I copied a quote and I guess I can search it, but it says there was a weapon that he decided to keep hidden for now. It might work as well as a radiant shard blade in opening the oath gates and might let someone reach Thalen's city by flight. That's I think
That's
that was
that's
Dalinar. That's the honor
honor. Yeah.
blade from Seth, right? The
Yes.
Windrunner's blade.
Hmm.
Okay, got you. Yeah, and then Teravangian's female. You think it's Yasna?
Where did she pop out?
Somewhere in the Frostlands, I think. I think
Yeah.
her and Wit were in the Frostlands.
Yeah.
Um,
That's pretty far from Yakovet.
it is. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me pull up my notes. But yeah, I really like this chapter.
Yeah. It I really like Elokar. I'm glad he didn't die. He's a very interesting character because he's like this, noble born guy that was supposed to like, be the heir to this great conqueror, and he's like failed the entire time, and he knows he's failed, but he's trying to like redeem himself. So I hope he does.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah,
And
this I had the setting written as unknown. We don't know where they popped out at, where she popped out at. So
okay.
She could totally be
Yakoven.
in Yakaved. Let me see the map. Let's see here. Let me pull this big map out. Hope I don't tear this. There we go. So, well, eh, I mean, the Frostlands, that's not far. Because,
But she would have gone to the Shattered Plains, right?
well, no. Because she would have never been at the Shattered Plains. She was in Shadesmar. Remember,
Yeah, but like if she popped out in the Frostland, she would just go to the Shattered Plains and then find out that everybody left. So she's probably not in the Frostlands though. She might have.
she disappeared
Yeah,
in the water from Carbreath to the shallow crit. So
yeah, but she's been in Shademar for like months, right? Or
correct,
yeah,
correct. So she
yeah,
could pop out. Like
basically
she'll probably
anywhere.
pop out where she wants, but
Yeah,
um Vadenar is across from the Tarat Sea from Carbranth. And so I think that's Vadenar is probably where Taravangian went.
yeah. We had a city. I forgot the name of it, but it
Yeah.
was it was a port city, so that's probably where it was at.
So I feel like Yasna probably went to Yakoved.
Could be. It could be her. I mean,
Otherwise, it's somebody else we don't know.
yeah, it could be like a diagram radiant that he's been training for this time, or it could be Yasna. I don't know. Either one is interesting because if it's Yasna, then she went to the guy that had her assassinated, and he didn't have her assassinated. Um. Oh wait, no, the Ghost Bloods killed Yasna.
Yeah, the Ghost Bloods were trying to assassinate Yasna.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, could be Yasna, but then he didn't say like, "Hey, Yasna Colen's here. I have a random reading." No, no, maybe it's just him being cheeky.
Also,
Maybe
if he's like,
Yasna.
"Hey, Yasna's here. I'm on board with your plan," it might not be as honest looking, sincere looking.
I think it's more sincere to be like, "Hey, the daughter of your wife, which I don't know you're married, but the daughter of your sister-in-law is alive, and I have her. She's a radiant, and we're gonna like open the oath gates and come to you." Would be like, "Oh, King Taravangian, you're like my best friend now."
Maybe so.
I don't know. I guess we'll probably find out like next chapter after this reading is done, that like who it is.
Yeah, probably next section.
Yeah, it should be fun. Uh, but yeah, got anything else on this
Nope.
section?
We can move on to chapter 13.
Chaperone. This is a Shallan point of view.
No
Um,
mating.
no mating. Um, yes, she transforms herself in the veil. She's practicing basically with her Stormlight stuff. Uh, gates and voices and stuff like that. She's trying to refine the look. She wants to be able to transform quickly into Veil without needing to review them. She knock hears a knock on the door. She assumes that's Polona, so she is like, "Come in," because there's no like. What's fun is all the like the wood is rotten away for thousands of years, so like they just have kind of like drapes on the doorways. So Adolin walks through the thing. She has her safe hand exposed. No, she's scandalous. And she's in a nightgown. Uh, she tells him like look away. A little meet cute thing where she dresses. Um,
She calls his knock very feminine.
yeah,
And he's like, "What made it feminine?" It's like, "You only knocked with one hand." He's like, "Who knocks with two hands?"
which is a correct statement. Uh, That's funny. So he brought her food because she didn't go to supper. Um, she starts eating. Um, she tries some male food and super spicy.
She's like, "Oh my God, this is hot."
Yeah. It's not correct or yeah, it's not in decorum for them to be alone. So she gets Pattern to be her chaperone. Name of the chapter. Um, and Pattern's very confused. He's like, "What do I do? Just sit here and look at you?" She's like,
Like, make sure we
"Kinda."
don't do anything
Yeah.
inappropriate.
He's like, "Ooh," he says something funny. He's like,
Yeah, he is inappropriate, such as dividing by zero.
"Yeah, yeah." And he's like, "Oh, mating, no mating." Um, Pattern's the best. Um, then he basically
Oh,
hmm?
this quote here is, it wasn't a lecture, it was a creative application of my tongue to keep you distracted. Looking at his lips, she could think of some other creative applications for her tongue. Right. She took a deep breath. I'm like, oh, Jesus, Shalon. Just
Yeah, she's those hormones are flowing. Um, yes, he brought her some books for to learn about more politics because she didn't know anything about the politics in that meeting they had earlier. Then he
and also the notebook from May Aladar,
yes,
Notes of Perils.
we get another mention of her. Um, yes, he's Adolin is kind of feeling a little inadequate about his betrothal because she's now radiant and he's just a rich highborn prince that's super hot. So, but he's still feeling a little inadequate. But she's like it reassures him. They start to kiss, and then Pattern it's like no, stop. So he is a chaperone. Um, that's kind of it. It's a
And
fun
they
chapter.
promised each other not to screw things up.
Yeah.
And then start looking at the notebook.
Yep.
Yeah, fun chapter. Funny.
Yes.
Um,
I like their relationship. It's really good. You don't
yeah.
get too much in fantasy, like these type of relationships are super common. They're either like super quick, like all wheel times relationships, or I don't know. They're just not as
Like, oh my God, they see each other. Oh my God, they're in
yeah,
love
they're
with
in
each other.
love. Yeah,
All right, now they know everything about each other.
yeah. That's literally every single wheel time relationship. It's either I'm prophesied to love you or I just see you and love you, and then it's just like, oh, we're married. Like, I love wheel time. Relationships is not their strong suit at all.
No.
So yeah, I'm enjoying reading this one. Um,
Yeah, we can move on.
we can move on to chapter 14. See that Kaladin chapter.
So before we get into it, I totally thought this was gonna be revealing about. Once saw the name and saw it was a Kaladin chapter, I was like, "Oh, okay. So squires can't capture a spread." But
Yeah,
it's, oh, I mean, that might still be the case later on,
yeah,
but we don't find that out in this
yeah.
chapter.
It's not about any of Bridge 4. It's about a card game that they found in Hearthstone. No, not quite. But it's a card game. So basically, he's sneaking around. He finds some Woodbringers. They're basically now people. They speak Alethi really well. They're trying to like figure out how to play this card game. Um, and they don't remember how to do it because when they were serving drinks and stuff, they couldn't really figure out the rules. They do not have red eyes, which is interesting. And they don't seem to be in war form either because they have like limited carapace. They don't seem to know how to like
They're
cook.
not in slave form anymore.
No, no, they're like people basically. But I don't think they're in any form we know. They have like limited, so maybe like nimble form or worker form, something like that.
Yeah,
They're not in war form. They don't seem to know how to cook the food, the grain that they've found. So
they're just eating it.
there's eating raw grain, which is
It's wet though.
just wet. Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
they did overnight oats. They made
Yes.
overnight oats.
Yeah, maybe. Um, then there's this Spren that kind of sees Kaladin and raises the alarm. And he surrenders. So we got a rogue Spren.
Yeah, and it's not red spread. It's a glowing yellow ribbon.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it goes alert in a high shrill voice.
Oh, that was not. Say it more. Say it shriller. Alert!
And so yeah, I really like this. He Kaladin being able to see them. Um, it really shows that not all people, like in war, not all people on one particular side of a conflict are just invested or have any interest in the conflict itself or the reasons why it's going on. They're just trying to live.
It shows that whatever the Everstorm did, it didn't just suddenly turn everybody into Voidbringers, which is interesting. Because that's what it was said. Like the
Right,
Everstorm's going to come and turn everyone into Voidbringer. Somehow, for some reason, it didn't do that.
right. But
Maybe they didn't have enough
all
Spren.
like the Alethi, they're like, oh, you got to put your parshmen out. And so, like, I could see that prejudice and that racism coming about. It's like, oh God, the Everstorm's going to come. Uh, we need to put them out, and then we're going to be at war with them.
Yeah, well, that's what they
And
thought was going to happen.
right, and so Kaladin sees this, but if an army had chased, they might have just come across this field and go, okay, they stole our grain, and they are the enemy. We've been told they're the enemy, so we're going to kill them.
Yeah,
But Kaladin seeing that before they knew he was there, he goes, oh, they're just trying to live. They're people. And so when they're alerted to his presence, he surrenders.
yeah,
It's basically what I'm saying. Like, I mean,
yeah,
it's like it'd be easy if an army had went after them. It would have been a battle, and they would have been killed.
yeah, probably, or they would have surrendered or something. But it's more interesting. It's so in the previous books, it was basically like the Everstorm's going to come, Order 66 is going to happen, and the world's going to end. Right?
Right.
They're all sleeper agents, so it's not quite. That's not what happened. They basically got free of whatever supposedly the humans did to them, which I don't see how they could have done that. Um, which is put them in slave form or whatever. Um, but so they're free of that, and some of them. I mean, I'm guessing whenever the Eversword comes around, there's going to be more Red Sprint that are going to take control of them, and it's going to it's going to be more of a gradual turning than a
Yeah.
sudden turn, because you still have like Eshonai and stuff that are just taken over and evil. Um, so it's curious. It also makes it so the world doesn't just end,
Yeah.
because if it happened the way it was being described, they just win. Like the Martinia they just win. They literally just kill everyone because they're not prepared for it at all, and it's just all right. We got a couple of people in error through, and that's it. So it makes more sense for a perspective of like how there's going to be a conflict. So and it's good. I like it. I'm curious where it's going to go.
Yeah, I
If
like it too.
if we're going to be able to have Parshmen that are able to resist the spren and stuff like that, or just set up more of us as like a people more than just like Trollocs, basically.
Yeah. We can move
Okay.
on if you want.
Yeah, move on
Chapter
to
15.
Brightness Radiant. This is a Shallan chapter. Um, yes, they're she's discussing the murder investigation with Adolin, and Adolin's like, I'm pretty sure that you're two culprits. And Shalon's like, Adolin, you're stupid. It's like exactly the same thing. I don't know why he's so stuck on this idea of two culprits. What? He's kind of dumb, but I like him. Um, it's really funny because he's like, no, there's definitely two people. Then he's like, hey, Shalon, you have a shard blade, right? And she's like, yeah. He's like, you should probably learn how to use it. And she's like, no, I killed my mom. I don't want to use it ever again. But she then reluctantly agrees, and she starts freaking out while he goes to get the guards. Um, and she's like freaking out, and she's basically draws herself a new persona, which is Brightness Radiant. Um, and yeah, she someone confident, poised like Yasna. So Brightness Radiant. Then she's like super cold and kind of just unfeeling almost, but she starts to modify a little bit as you go on. Um, he teaches her like the stances, all that stuff, breathing, and she like starts to learn how to use the sword basically. Um, and she also sees Adolin's passion for swordsmanship and how it kind of goes with her art, and so they're both kind of passionate about things. So she's yeah, she kind of learns how to do the sword. And she has a new persona now. She has Veil, Shalon, and Brightness Radiant.
Yeah, and she's able to switch back and forth between Shalon and Radiant when needed to. So, like when she's doing the sword fighting, she's Radiant, but when she wants to, explore her relationship with Adolin and like the romantic interest and everything, she has to be Shalon because Radiant has no interest
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah, she
Uh,
like is super form. She's like Bright Lord Cohen, and he's like, "What, Bright Lord Cohen?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I'll tone that down a little bit. I'm too formal." It's interesting.
and yeah, so that's all fun and I like it. I like the new persona. Um and so last chapter we got a cliffhanger for uh what's his name?
Paladin.
Kaladin. And this one we kind of have a little cliffhanger of like, okay, now Shalon's got a new persona. Cool, how's that gonna go? Um, but we got questions that pop up in here. And subject matter in general. So shard blades, that subject matter of them being dead spren comes up again, and it really explores like it touches on Adolin's respect and how he treats swords and how he always like I don't give a name to it because it belonged to somebody before, and what if I name it the wrong thing? It's not. Uh,
I wonder if they're setting up with Aelin's respect for the sword, if he's gonna like bring back the dead sprint of the sword. I don't know. It's just a thought that popped in my mind. Be kind of cool.
there's some things I remember, and I can't speak on that subject.
Eh, fair
I
enough.
can't speculate or deny or
Yeah, we're good.
confirm anything at that moment. So I
We'll
try
just
I try to be silent on things that I know are 100%.
yeah.
Um uh
But that would be
but
cool. We'll see if that happens. Because they brought it up a lot, and be cool. I do like how Shalon like draws her stances and stuff, so she's like getting better. It's gonna be fun if Shalon becomes pretty decent at fighting. Um, oh, I do like that they can duel themselves, so they don't need the guard things.
oh yeah, the living spren.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's how uh Lift was able to like eat, eat pancakes with it and not like kill herself.
Yeah.
So
The other thing that was brought up here was the question of where shard plate comes from.
mm.
Um, so I think this might be like a little foreshadowing, Sanderson letting us know. I
It
think,
doesn't pattern say like you're not ready yet or something like that?
yeah, I swear this is the second time shard plate origin has been brought up in this series.
Yeah.
Like, so I
I
want to know.
I assume it's an oath, but we shall see.
An oath, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like kind
feel
of
like.
like shard blades. It's what makes the most sense because we've seen past shard plate and they glowed and were more living than the current ones.
Yeah.
And I think they could fly and stuff too, which was cool. Unless those are wind runners. Um, I don't know if like I if you get a separate spren, you have like two sprens, or if like you get a shard of both. You get a spread of both searches for the
Hmm.
plate. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know.
That's an interesting theory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Sill is like the wind, like the gravitational one more than the whatever the other one is. I don't know. Could be cool. I don't because like if Sill is both the things, it could also be that. But we shall see. I don't know. Just a thought I had. Um, yeah. We can go to the last
Final
chapter.
chapter.
Final chapter. Chapter 16, wrapped three times.
On the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pot if the answer is no. Sorry. It's an old song.
You're good.
I don't know if you know that song.
I do not know this song.
It's knock three times on the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pot if the answer is no. Your mom might know that song.
Probably. Uh, it's a Dalinar Kholin chapter. Um, he's examining the honor blade that Kaladin got from Zeth. Uh, it does not scream because it's something different, something of the heralds. Um, he then talks to the Stormfather.
Now,
About
this is the second mention of Sharp Plate. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
where Stormfather says he hasn't spoken enough oaths to know about Shard Plate.
yeah, yeah. So maybe book five, get it, or book four, or this book. Who knows? Um, yeah. He's basically talking about odium, and we find out that odium must follow has rules also that they must follow. Um, and then he asks basically if Honor's suggestion of getting a champion will work, and Stormfather's basically like if Honor said it, it should work. Um, which is cool. And basically it will buy humanity time, which is all we really care about because we can just kick the can down the road for another 1,000 years. None of our characters will care if Desolation goes back. Um, oh yeah, he's now guarded by Bridge 13 because Bridge 4 are squires now. They're too important to do guard duty. Um, yeah. I like how he kind of gets chastised by one of them. Like you walked out alone, and he's like, "Are you? Shut up!" Basically, it's funny.
It's very talkative and asks certain questions. He's like, "Wait, why are you questioning me?" It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm not questioning. I just, like."
I wonder if he's a Lupin cousin. He didn't say so, but he talks like Lupin. I didn't read the audio or listen to the audio books. I don't know if he was like, "What's up, Concho?" Um. So then he goes and he wrestles, but first he talks to the Ardents. He has a bunch of sword masters, as we saw before, and they're basically kind of side eyeing him because he's been doing a bunch of blasphemy.
Before you move on,
Yeah.
he asks this guy if he knows what time it is, and he's like, "No, but maybe you should use the clock."
Yeah,
So then he goes and looks at the package that Navani sent him, and it's a leather glove that's got two watch faces on it. One is actually a clock, Fabrial, and the other's the storm clock to let him know when high storm is coming. But it also includes a pain reel
yeah,
because Navani wants to test the pain reels a little more, and Dalinar is the perfect person because he's old and in pain a lot.
yeah, because he's been messed up. But yeah, Navani basically invented a wristwatch, so that's good. Um, yes. So after he gets that, he goes to the training grounds to talk with his ardents because if we remember a previous book, he basically has a bunch of sword masters as his ardents. But they're all kind of like eyeing him weird because he's been blaspheming and like he married Navani and stuff like that. So like, we don't know if we're gonna like follow you. Um, he talked basically Zale tells him that. And he then finds a dude to wrestle with. Basically, he finds Aratan, which is like the son of I think it's son of
General
Call. Yeah,
Call.
yeah. And he's not the shard bearer, but he's like huge. Um, they wrestle. The younger man is beating him. Um, Dalinar almost gets the thrill, but then he and almost gets Stormlight, and he's like also like he's like pinned or whatever, but
Yeah.
he's refusing to tap basically, and he almost so like he's getting like frustrated with himself, like why didn't I tap? I could have injured myself or the guy. I was kind of stupid. I'm like I'm not a young man anymore. I need to not
Yes. Tap often.
yes, so you don't get your arm broken.
Yes.
Then Navani is there watching him fight. Um, he has
She didn't
basically
watch long. She just showed it was like, Dalinar, what are you doing?
basically yeah. Um, uh, yes. Then basically she's like, "Hey, the Queen of Erie, wants to talk. So let's have a diplomatic communication in the middle of the training grounds with all sorts of spies that will just tell everybody our business." And Downar's like, "Yeah, we should do that." No, Downar's like that. It's kind of stupid, but whatever. Um, oh, he does have a fight with before all that.
No,
Oh
no,
no,
it
no, during
while
yes, wow.
he's multitasking. So
Yeah,
he's
he is
he's
multitasking.
having a sword fight with Kadash.
Yeah.
He's having a theological debate with
With
Kadash
Kadash. And
and
he's having a
communicating
diplomat.
with the queen.
Yeah. Not the smartest move because I think all of them fail basically. Um, yes, this is where the queen says they're considering making a treaty with the Voidbringers. Um, she holds a grudge with the stolen shard plate she got from the marriage, which is Adolin shard plate, which was what confused me earlier.
Yeah.
Not his shard plate. Um, yeah, Kadash is like trying to say that you shouldn't say that Almighty is dead. And like basically the Ardentia is gonna have to start doing something about it. And like you don't really want the world's religion against you. But and he does a appealing to tradition type thing, like what about tradition? Dalinar gives a story about tradition basically, how it's kind of done.
Wrapping the
Yeah, he
belt
did.
three
He
times.
wrapped the belt 3 times, and he eventually found the person that started it, and just because he was short, it also reminds me of there's a story of I think it's Britain. There's a post that a guy is gonna stand here and like watch the waves for Napoleon to come, like if he was gonna come attack the British Isles, and that lasted until like 1920 or something because just nobody ever thought to change it. There's oh that guy's just doing that, He's always done that. So yeah, that was a position for like a long time. It's really funny. So yeah, tradition can be done.
Yeah. And so he actually tells he shows off his radiant power to be like, hey, look, you mean like y'all follow the heralds? And it's like, oh yeah, they have powers. He's like, oh, you mean like this? And it says, look, if you can prove to me that Vorinism as it currently stands is what the heralds taught, then we will speak again. So he basically gives an ultimatum to the Ardentia, like, hey, look, is what the current state of it, is that what was taught by the heralds or not?
Yeah, and it's curious because we also have the Sons of Honor who are basically for the heralds, which is basically what the Ardentia wants. They like the Almighty. So I wonder if Amaram and the Church are gonna like form together. And then yeah, we still get more stuff about the Queen demanding the Shard Plate, even though her claim is tenuous because she isn't even related to Evie. And Dalinar's like, "What? Evie? That's my wife's name." And then he starts like getting all his memories sucked back to his in his head, and he like screams and falls to the ground. So we're
Yeah.
gonna get now he remembers his wife's name and all the stuff that happened with his wife, which means either like Stormlight healed the old magic, or the old magic is gone for some reason, which would be really bad for Lift. Which we did see Lift in Edge Dancer. She's starting to grow, so maybe the old magic is fading somehow. Um,
Mm, what if Odium was like attacking cultivation? Would that change?
maybe something's going on with cultivation because we have Lift, we have Dalinar. Do we have anybody else that's done old magic?
Teravangian?
Tervangian, yeah, we have Tervangian.
Yeah, those three for sure.
Yeah, so if
And we have
Tervangian,
those other two people that wanted to go.
yeah. So if Terravanian starts losing his thing, he might get stuck while being stupid. That would be bad.
Or good, who
Yeah,
knows?
or good, yeah.
I mean, he's not a good person.
No, but he is trying to save the world.
Yeah.
We'll see if the ends justify the means.
Um, yeah, I had a note here was a quote rather. He couldn't remember feeling the thrill in months, and the longer he'd been apart from it, the more he'd begun to recognize that there was something profoundly wrong about the thrill. Um, so like he's starting to realize, oh, yeah, just like the Everstorm, like there's something wrong with the Everstorm. He's like, hold on, something's been influencing us this whole time that's just not right as well.
Yeah, and we do know from last book that it's now starting to influence the Prashindi because it was influenced Eshonai.
Yes. So it's moving away from humanity and into the Parshendi.
Yeah,
Um, and then I love this quote from Navani when she comes up and finds Dalinar sparring. He's like, yes, what every wife loves, seeing that in his spare time, her husband likes to roll around on the floor with half-naked, sweaty men. Hey, it's fun. Just
yeah,
rolling with the boys. Come on.
yeah.
It's fun. I do it all yeah, several times a week.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So make sure you shower afterwards. Yeah, so that's the first half of part one. It's a great place to pause on it.
yeah. You got a lot of interesting things going on with everybody basically.
Yeah, it's really fun to read and have sections where you stop at a certain point and then discuss it, and then you're like, okay, what's next?
Yeah,
So, um, but yeah, so next week we will finish part one, including the interludes. So we're gonna stop right when it says part two. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to hopefully getting some answers in part one.
yeah.
Um, If you've made it this far, I appreciate it. Whoever gives those, I should say this at the beginning of next one, but keep forgetting. But whoever that one person is that clicks like on all of the YouTube videos, thank you. Uh, you're a trooper. And if you made it this far and you like this, do those things. Click like, click follow, subscribe, whatever. Leave us a review, or not, but it's up to you. Go ahead and visit our sponsor as well, Mudcat Whiskers at www.mudcatwhiskers.com. Use code Paperweights at checkout and save yourself some money. And you have anything else to say, Justin?
I'm ready for end of part 1.
Yeah. And as far as the rest of my day goes, we're going to a trunk or treat at Jiu-Jitsu today. So
Nice.
it's going to be a fun night. I'm going to be dressed as Macho Man Randy Savage.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna watch football and not watch terrible teams because I don't have to watch the Saints today because we played Thursday.
We played Thursday. It was a sad, sad game.
It was.
So, all right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.